So we hear a lot of talk about solutions, right? We want to have solutions to the current challenges that we have today, and a lot of that involves, hey, we're pointing out the challenges that are going on in the world, and instead of just talking about the problem, what if we brought forth the idea of solutions? So if we were to, for example, talk about our economic system and the current challenges that exist there, the issues with centralized banking and how that creates a situation where, we're always indebted to money that comes into the system through central banks that has debt attached to it, which creates a perpetual system of debt on the people. So no matter what happens, we're constantly always owing, the banks, who are constantly always owing the government, who are constantly always owing the central banks who are creating the money. And the more you understand that system, the more you understand it's in essence a form of like constant slavery, right? So if we know that that's the issue, and we know that there's certain individuals, families that have been part of this for such a long time, the question becomes, what else can we do? What can we propose as a solution? And what I wanted to talk about here today is kind of it's getting into the mode, it's some of the more philosophical ways in which we can embody a new story as we start going through the potential solutions that exist out there for the challenges that we have today. Because we can talk about the physical solutions all day long, but if we're not going to be embodying them, sort of taking the risk to say, I'm going to put my energy into this potential solution, which means having to pull my energy out of how the world currently functions a little bit. If we can't do that, if we can't transfer that energy over, then we're always just going to be talking about the solutions with all of our energy in the old world. And one of the best ways to talk about that as it relates to the economic system is a discussion of cryptocurrency. And, I remember when cryptocurrency first came on to, the scene way back in I want to say 2008, 2009 was the first time I heard of it. And somebody had actually came to me when Bitcoin was it's like something like 25 cents, or maybe it was even like 7 cents. I can't recall. But imagine if I had said yes at that point. But I was thinking about that, and over the years, cryptocurrency got larger and larger and larger, and more people spoke about it. A lot of my friends started to get into it, and my friends would always tell me, Joe, with all your ideas, your forward-thinking and progressive ideas, like cryptocurrency should be something that you love. Like this is a solution. This is what we need to be doing. And I agree to some extent, right? And this is where I want to get into sort of changing our story. So we can look at cryptocurrency from the standpoint of saying, look, I can make a ton of fiat currency. I can make a ton of Canadian dollar, US dollar, whatever it might be, by investing my money into crypto, letting it go up, pull it out, and then I have more regular currency, fiat currency, right? I have more of the dollar that I've been using. Now that's using cryptocurrency as a sort of get-rich-quick scheme. It's a way of saying, I'm just going to get more of the thing that is a problem, and I'm not actually necessarily going to be using cryptocurrency as a solution. And this is where the entire conversation also breaks down culturally, at least in my eyes. So you have people who are looking at crypto and they're seeing right through it, and they're saying, this isn't a real solution. Now, what are they seeing as an issue? They're witnessing that type of stuff that I'm talking about, where a sort of small group of elite crypto people that hold tons and tons of crypto can essentially manipulate the market and make more and more and more money. And they're seeing that and they're going, well, this isn't really solving anything. But then you have the crypto purists who look at it and say, well, cryptocurrency this is how we decentralize. This is how we create a blockchain ledger that can hold everybody accountable. We know what's going on at all times. This is the way to move away from central banks, which I've identified as the issue. But the problem is that there's huge swaths of people that are using cryptocurrency as a means to get rich in the fiat world. They don't see this as a story-changing solution. They see it as like this cool, potentially trendy solution, and they're using that to make a lot of money. And even if in the back of their mind they do believe that crypto is this trendy solution, they're hedging all of their bets by investing in it from the standpoint of becoming rich later on, as opposed to seeing it as, hold on a second, we need a solution to our central banking issue, which means I shouldn't be investing this looking to upper hand my position and become really, really wealthy. I should be investing in this from the standpoint of saying, I'm here to solve an issue, here to solve a problem. And I am looking at seeing the whole world be in a better situation, as opposed to I just got to find a way to get rich. I just got to find a way to up myself. Because it's like moving from the story of me as a separate individual that's just trying to take care of myself and my own, to how can we potentially think of, changing the world for the collective, right? So it's a change in worldview. It's a change in story, right? One of it's looking at it from the standpoint of, I'm going to bring the old story, which is me competing, me having lots of money, me becoming rich, and investing in cryptocurrency that way, in which case we're taking a solution and applying the old story to it, which negates it as a real solution. Or we start to find ways to embrace a new story and use that new story to apply to the new solution and see how it grows from there. And if you think too, just like, look at the praise that we'll get from making that smart investment and making a ton of money from crypto. It's like even that part of it can be very tantalizing to people, right? It's like the idea of if I do invest and I make a lot of money and it's almost like, wow, I'm going to get points. I'm going to get social points from people because I'm going to be viewed as having made a smart investment and having made a bunch of money. And we also have to look at that praise and we have to say, well, I'm giving that up. I'm saying, well, I'm not going to get that feedback from people that's so socially valuable by taking the approach of saying, well, you know what, I'm investing in this from the standpoint of creating a better world. So, that's a whole nother side to this too that we got to look at. And another example, just really quick, I don't want to make this video too long, but where this applies is in the energy sector. If you've been watching my videos for a long time, you know that I've had the opportunity, the rare and unique privilege to stand in front of a new energy device that was operating off of no external energy. I was there with multiple engineers and financiers from a foreign country, and we were looking at this device. It was astonishing. Like, it really changes your understanding as a person when you start to realize that there's energy technologies right in front of you that would wipe out solar, wind, geothermal, any fossil fuels, all the different stuff we're doing today that seem really outdated as solutions. And you look at this and you go, wow, there's something incredibly possible here. But then you start to see what in this case happened here, right? You had different contracts being built out saying, hey, we can take this device and a series of these devices and sell them to the power generation companies who won't need to use nuclear anymore to produce energy, but who can use this to produce energy. And they can charge the citizens the same amount, but their costs of creating energy is almost nothing. And I asked the people who were involved in putting forth some of these deals and making these policies, and I was saying, how is this solving anything? And they're like, well, it'll be cleaner. And I'm like, sure, but you're still enslaving everybody by energy, and you're taking these massive corporations who control all the energy, and you're making it so that they hold even more power and make even more profit, and there's going to need to be less people involved. So you've increased the profits of the billionaires while passing none of the savings or benefits on to the people. How is this a good solution? And they said, I don't really care. That's not really what I'm in it for. And I thought to myself, here we are again, providing the same old story: dominance, control, make the most money, do the smart business practice, right? We do that as opposed to saying, hold on a second, what happens if we applied a new story to these technologies? And the way I'm going to cap this off is this: that particular free energy or energy device, new energy technology, all the deals around it and all the partnerships ended up collapsing over the period of time. And I thought to myself, why were they all collapsing? Why was this coming together? Here we had a potentially world-changing, a paradigm-changing technology that you could argue is meant for a world where humans are thinking differently and acting differently and being differently. And that technology ended up attracting a lot of people who just wanted to get rich and just wanted to have a lot more money and have a lot more control. And in some way, shape, or form, the energy around that energy device collapsed all of this old story and broke all of it apart and said, look, in its own way, I'm not coming to market until you're willing to treat this differently as a collective. That's the way I chose to look at it. That's the way I liked to see the situation, because to me, a lot of it was really about asking the question, are these new ideas, new solutions, new technologies, whatever it might be, really going to work if us as humans are not willing to embrace and rethink the stories that make up the decisions we make and how our society functions? So I wanted to end this off with some thoughts around, like, how do we embrace some of these new ideas and sort of let go of these old ones? Because it can be tricky to let go of old stories. Like, we might be able to say, or yeah, I want a world where, everything's amazing and everything's almost like a utopia. Like, it's easy to say that, but to actually move towards doing that, to actually embody and embrace that and make life decision around that can be difficult. And so a lot of it comes down to being able to explore within yourself, what are some of these stories? Like I know for myself, when I'm looking at making a decision, for example, here, even with business, and I'm trying to stick to something, because I've made many decisions over the last 12 years that are quote unquote not about making these like really aggressive business decisions where you're trying to maximize profit. I've made a lot of decisions that are more so geared towards doing what I felt was my vision, which was creating a world where or a business where you paid people enough, you paid people well enough so that they felt comfortable, that they could live their lives, that they could, have enough time where they could take care of themselves in between, a busy work schedule and that sort of stuff. Like trying to actually do something different, even though every business owner or somebody out there would say, yeah, I may not give my employees that much flexibility, or, oh, I may not pay my employees that much just right out of the gate. I made those decisions and I embodied and embraced that. And one thing I noticed that every time I came up against resistance or doubt within myself, which happened many times, and it still does to this day to some extent, but whether it's those types of stories or other types of stories, a lot of it just has to do with understanding what is the story I'm telling myself. Am I afraid or worried about what might happen? Will I be stuck with regrets? Is this moving towards ultimately what I want to create? And how can I just take it day by day and move forward, knowing that if I do need to make a different a decision at some point, I can make that change and I can, move that over a little bit. So a lot of it is at first a little bit of a mental exercise of understanding what our stories are. Where is our resistance? What is happening in my mind? Where is the fear coming from? And perhaps even writing some of that out. At the same time, I might want to pay attention to my body. What am I feeling in my body when I'm resisting new ideas, or when I'm put in the position of having to face a new decision or a difficult decision? Do I notice tension anywhere in my body? Is it unconscious at first, right? If we can bring ourselves back to our body a little bit and understand where energy or where a story might be getting caught up, just right down to the level of our physiology, then we can have a little bit of an understanding of where we're actually holding tension, and just sitting with that, right? If we're take a moment and just sit with where the tension might be and give it space and allow yourself to explore it a little bit. What am I holding on to? Why does this feel tense? Why does this feel a little worrisome? A lot of times we will gain more clarity as to why we're actually holding tension about that particular thing. Maybe we're protecting ourselves in some particular way. Maybe something has happened to us in a particular instance that led to a moment where we felt limited, and now we're thinking that we might experience that limitation again, so we're resistant to that new choice. I don't know what the answer is because it's going to be unique for each of us, but the point is if we can take a moment to come back to presence, come back to our body a little bit, and be willing to more so get in tune with where these stories lie within ourselves, with where these ideas are within ourselves, and make friends with it, be playful with it, be curious. It doesn't have to be super serious and super stressful. It's just there for us to re-examine, re-explore, sit with it, allow ourselves to sort of play with these ideas a little bit, and we're going to be able to make space for embracing new visions and new realities and new ideas, because we're acknowledging where we're at right now, and we're examining, do I really want to be here? What is this story about? What is this tension about? And can I let it go? Can I set it aside for a second and play and feel something different? What does it feel like to live in a reality if humanity was doing this, this, and this, right? Can I feel that? Can I actually bring that into my body? And can I see what that might feel like? Making the space, making the time to do that is really important. So I just wanted to offer that as a quick little thought as to how we can actually explore this stuff at a bit more than just an intellectual level, but also at maybe what might be called a little bit more of a spiritual level, or a little bit more of like an embodied level. So that's one of the things we do here at Collective Evolution. Again, if you're kind of been following the channel for a while, you know that we've moved things over to the Pulse in terms of our journalism, but here at Collective Evolution, we're going to be talking more about some of the ways to navigate our ever-changing reality, some of the ways we can look at life philosophically, we can ask some deeper questions, we can re-examine our paradigms and our worldviews, and then of course we can talk about a lot of the different inner solutions and changes in our thinking and changes in our being that can help us navigate these difficult times and connect better with other people and new ideas. So subscribe to this channel, but also subscribe to us over at The Pulse if you want to follow more of our journalism. Thanks so much for checking this out.